Hey, Erin, welcome to the Teacher Biz Podcast. I am so excited to have you here today.
I am thrilled to be here and just to be sitting and talking with you on a morning.
So let's start. Just tell me a little bit about who you are and how you got into this online business world, and maybe what your background was before that.
Okay. My name is Erin Leonard, and I live outside of Indianapolis. And the truth is, I really never set out to be an online business owner. That was as far from my mind as it probably could be. Even in college, I remember having friends that went to business school. I went to Indiana University, which is like known for its business school. And don't I wish I would have gone to business school now. But I remember thinking, like, what do you learn in business school? I wonder. Because I went to school for fine arts and graphic design. I did end up minoring in business, but that I didn't start till a little bit later once I kind of got clued into more of exactly what that meant. And then also psychology. So I'm sure my parents were like, what in the world is she going to do with her life? So I kind of got to where I am now. Like most people I know, just kind of through experience. Like I went to school for one thing, did that for a little bit, and now I'm kind of ending up somewhere different, which I think is everyone's story, really. Mostly now that I am, an adult, I don't know many people that are still doing exactly what they went to school for. So I went to school for fine arts, graphic design, business and psychology. I started working in marketing for a law firm. That was my first job after I graduated. And I quickly learned that I was not competitive enough for the marketing world. And I also always kind of felt just a little bit out of my element. Like I could do the things that I needed to do, but they weren't coming easily and naturally to me. And for a lot of my life, people had said like, oh, you should be a teacher. You should be a teacher. And I think I was like feeling like that was not the easy route. It's very hard to become a teacher, but the predictable route. But what people were essentially saying was, those skills look like they come naturally to you. Maybe you should do something with that, but I didn't really know that as when I was younger. And so I actually ended up going back to school, going to grad school for teaching. So that is kind of how I got into the teaching realm of things.
That's just like my story too. I went to college like not knowing exactly what I wanted to do, and then I went to grad school to be a teacher once I finally figured that out so many years later.
Yeah. What was your undergrad?
I was English and social sciences. And originally I thought I would want to be a lawyer, which is the last thing in the world that I would want to do once I actually became a grown up.
Don't really know. I don't know why I don't know about this part of you. I don't know this part about you. And that's funny because I worked for a law firm and you thought you might want to be a lawyer. And they were even like, we'll pay for you to go to law school kind of thing. And I'm like, it just doesn't come easy to me.
I felt the same way. Yep.
So I thought, all right, I'll go back to school to be a teacher. But I do remember the first, not like assignment I got in grad school, but like the first thing they had us read. And I remember reading it, and I don't know, it was something about child development. And I remember thinking, like, this is what I like. This is interesting. Like, I'm not bored.
I love
Which
that.
is really exciting. So anyway, so I did teach. I taught for 6 or 7. So I moved to Florida to teach, and I taught for 6 or 7 years. And it might have been 7 or 8 years. I should really calculate that. I taught 3rd grade, and then I had my first baby, and then I went back to school. Yes, I went back to work at a school, and I worked part-time at the same school that I had been working at. But my part-time job was to oversee and supervise all our special needs classes within the school and run all the meetings and make sure everyone had the right paperwork and services, and kind of support the special needs staff. So that is my background. That's my education background. What I do now is a combination of those things of sorts. but not exactly where I thought I'd end up.
Well, when did you end up leaving the classroom?
So we moved from Florida back to Indiana, and it was September, which is the worst time to move as a teacher because you either can't find a job or you're taking over a classroom, and that is hard as well. And I had always wanted to stay home with my kids at some point, but the part time was really like the best of both worlds. Is kind of how I felt when I was doing that in Florida. But it's a lot harder to show up to a state you haven't taught in before and say you want to work part time. It was a lot easier for me to do that at the school that I had been working at for years because they were like, sure, we'll find something part time, you know? So that's when I decided to stay home with my kids and had another baby. And my son was born in Florida, and then we had another baby once we moved here to Indiana, and I was staying home with them. But kind of always had that creativity itch or just wanted to do something else but wasn't sure how to fit that into my life as a mom. Like this is everybody I know's struggle, is wanting to use that part of your brain but also thinking it's really important to raise your kids and spend time with them in whatever way you feel is important. And I felt like I'd like to spend as much time with them as possible, but that doesn't feel like that's the only thing I want to do.
I love that. So then how did your business come to be? And tell us a little bit about that too.
I still smile or like chuckle at that it's a business because you know very well that like the business side of things does not come easy to me. I go to you for all my business strategy questions.
What was it to you when you started? It wasn't a business. What was it?
Even still to me, I'm like, oh, I own a business. Or sometimes I'll say to myself, like, you own a business, like get it together, you know, because the creative side and the writing side and that those things come easily to me. The business strategy side does not, but that's okay. I have you to learn from. Let's see. So it started as an idea, I guess, as many things start. In college, I had started this gratitude list in college for Lent, which is the 40 days leading up to Easter. And it snowballed. Without getting into a long story, I decided I'd write a gratitude list every day for 40 days. And I decided I would send it out to a group of people to stay accountable. Well, that group of people that I was sending it out to started sending me their gratitude lists. And then that group of people started to grow. So then it was like, it started as like maybe 10 or 15 friends and family receiving the list. And it grew into like, I don't know, maybe 100 people from acquaintances, like friends and friends. And I have a large family, so some of them too. And that was back in college. And that was just kind of like a fun, I don't even know what to call it. It was it wasn't an experiment, but like I was supposed to do it for 40 days just to improve my own sort of outlook and also invite God into my day more often. And then it ended up being this thing that other people started doing too. And then it was sort of like a community of people all looking for God's blessings in the day. And the rewards that came from that were just surprising to everyone, I think. And so then it turned into, I didn't stop after 40 days because I tried to stop, but then people were like, oh no, keep sending out the emails. So it was like there was no Facebook, there was no blogging. I had an email distribution list and this idea I stumbled on to create a gratitude list, and then saw the difference that made for my own self, but also like saw the difference it made for other people and liked that sense of community. So I sent those lists out for years, but eventually it kind of trickled out, but it was always still there. People would always say like, hey, do you still write those gratitude lists, or will you still send those out? And, or do you ever think you'll start sending those out again? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, you know, and then blogging started. And so I was teaching full time, but hearing about blogging because I still loved to be, you know, creative and do things with design on the computer. And so I thought, oh, maybe I'll start putting my gratitude lists up on a blog and not start a business. I just thought maybe I'll just put my lists up on a blog so that, it's somewhere to have them. And then when people say, do you still do that? I can say, oh yeah, sure. You can, go visit the blog. But it was not like, let me start a business and see how I can make this grow or earn an income. It really just was an idea I had in college, an easier way to do it through technology. And I had always thought in college, like, gosh, it just would be great if there was a better way to distribute this or for people to have access to this idea, because it seems to be it seems to matter to more people than just me. So that's how it started, as an idea in college, then kind of a resurgence of that idea when I started to hear about blogging. And then it really was that I had stopped working full time as a teacher, and truthfully, my husband asked me, I'm thinking, like, should I go back to work? We have 2 kids. We'll probably have more, but it was sort of that in between again. Like, do I go back to work or not? And my husband really, truly asked me, if you could do anything, what would you do? Because I was having trouble with whether I should. Teaching is wonderful because you're off when your kids are off. And everyone thinks of that when they become a teacher, or just when they're not a teacher. They think, oh, it's so great. It must be so great to be off when your kids are off. And it is. But it's also an extremely inflexible job when you're on. I loved teaching. I loved the curriculum and the creativity and just like watching kids come alive with new ideas. But if my own son had a fever, which, in the winter, somebody's sick every 3 days is what it feels like. If I didn't have the luxury of saying, I'll be to work an hour late while I figure out who can watch him, because I can't take him to daycare with a fever, but maybe my mom's available. And when we lived in Florida, my parents didn't even live there. So it just was like, I loved teaching, but I wasn't sure how to do it as a mom, because I'm not particularly great when like unexpected things come up, like fevers and sickness. And in the part-time job I had in Florida, I could go in an hour late. Like, I was running meetings, and I could say, like, I could reschedule meetings. But as a classroom teacher, it's really tricky to. Also, I was the flexible working parent, right? So like, my husband wasn't. So it works if like your husband or your partner can be the flexible working parent, because you're not the flexible working parent when you're the teacher. So that's what I was kind of struggling with. So my husband was like, well, if you could do anything, what would you do? Like, what would be different? What would be more flexible is not what he was asking. We just sometimes would ask each other, like, if you could do anything, what would you do? And I said, we were on this like little vacation. I remember it because I was like, I would just randomly, I said, I would restart the little things. I would figure out how to do that again, and like spread the word about gratitude and the role it can play for moms, because I've seen it happen time and time again through all these different seasons of my life. And he's like, I don't know how you're going to do that. That sounds sort of like intangible, right? He's like, I don't know how you're going to do that. He's like, but why don't you try? And so I thought, okay, I had no idea what that meant. Like we were saying, like I had no idea that meant owning or running a business. I just kind of thought it meant having an idea and other people could share in that idea. And that's as far as I knew at that point. But now I know. Now I know a lot more about it, being a business and turning something that's an idea into a business.
Yes. So notice the little thing started as a blog, and that blog was not making you money.
No, I didn't even know blogs could make you money. If I could go back in time and like start, I don't even know what I would do because I wouldn't have known what I was doing. But if I could start my blog as a business like in 2008, that would be different. Things would maybe be, I don't know. I wouldn't, right? Because I like everything that's happened since then. But I think about that often. Like when I first turned it into a blog, I had no idea that you could make money or do something that you really liked doing and support your family. I also think I thought that it would, I don't know. I definitely thought it would be easier in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have this idea that, I don't know what I thought. I just definitely thought Well, I didn't think about the owning a business part. I just thought about the parts that I was excited about doing, which is great. That's what you should do in the beginning, right? Or you would never keep going if you thought of the hard things at first.
That is for sure.
Yep. So starting as a blog, no money, making no money without the idea of even making money.
And when do you think the blog turned into a business? Like, what was the switch that flipped there?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Well, I was gonna say, I remember talking to you years ago about products, and you were like, "What is this product thing? And what could I do for a product?" And then you just, like, jumped into it. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, trying to think of like, I mean, there was like at one point there was like you could make money with blog traffic, right? So
Mhm.
I think I thought maybe that's where I would focus my attention. And then, yeah, I started hearing that really, I have always heard that your email list is where it's at, right? Oh,
Mhm.
and I still hold strong to that. Gosh, I'm just trying to think of when I thought, I know, essentially it was like, this is taking a lot of time. Like I'm raising 2 kids. I don't think I was pregnant yet with our third. And, if this is going to take this much time. And also, it was starting to cost me more money to sort of run this blog that I was doing as a hobby. Everyone says that, like, it started as a hobby, but it really did just start as something like that I thought was fun to do. Um, and I thought, gosh, this is costing money, because you have to host the email list somewhere and you have to pay for your actual hosting. And then if you want to customize your blog at all, I think I had at first I had one of the just like generic WordPress themes that was really hard to customize. And being a designer, that was maddening because I couldn't do anything I wanted to do to make it look pretty. And so I knew I could do that if I had money, because everything was like, if I want to do that, it's going to cost money. So I think that is where I first started to think like, okay, I have to make money from this if I'm going to continue this, or if it's going to go anywhere other than where it is right now. I have to make money because I'm going to have to pay more money to do this. So I think, yeah, and I had heard about products, but I thought I will never sell products. I remember having the thought in my head that I will not ever, I don't have any products to sell. I don't have anything that I could possibly sell. Because I think I had in my mind like physical products. And I didn't have a lot of experience with like reading other people's blogs and seeing other people's products that were physical and then also digital. I just didn't, because again, like the business side of things, I just didn't realize that this could be a business. And so I didn't really seek that out. I wish I would have. I would have really kind of known about it earlier. I remember, so Notice a Little Thing started as a gratitude list that I did for Lent for 40 days. So one thing I did and then it turned into a blog in 2008 that wasn't really a blog. Like, I mean, it was basically like almost like a personal diary kind of thing. That's how lots of people used blogs back then, right? You would post your family pictures and things like that. Well, I did the gratitude lists. And then it turned into like, well, maybe I'll explain some of these things on my gratitude list every now and then. So then I like added another tab that was like sort of like an expanded story about something on my gratitude list, because I really like to write and tell stories. So then it was like I was like slowly building something, but I didn't know what I was building. But one thing that I did do every year, even when I had like 50 subscribers, was every year for Lent I would say to my subscribers, like, let's get together and do 40 days of gratitude for something. Like, I would give a focus, right? But there was no sales page, there was no product. I might have made printables that to go along with it that were free. And I remember, I think talking to you, or maybe it was Mari, like I didn't even realize that I should be making a sales page for this. It just was like things I didn't know. I needed you back then. I just didn't know. And so slowly I learned that like this free thing I was doing that lots of people were signing up for could actually be a paid thing. And the way to accomplish that is to design the thing that people are going to pay for, to build a sales page. And then instead of, I was having people sign up through a blog post, you know, like if you want to sign up, email, I think maybe probably I had them email me. Gosh, I wish I probably could figure it out. I didn't even realize there needed to be a sales page. You know, I did know that people needed to, how are people even signing up at that point? I don't know if I had an opt-in.
I have no idea. Maybe you could just sign up to be on someone's newsletter or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
must have just had like a subscribe here for nothing. I don't think you even got anything, which no one would do that these days. Because it's fun to give people things, you know, it's fun to like say, you know, sign up and I'll give you this because, you know, then you can kind of see what this business is about and see if it's, you know, going to help you in your everyday life. So yeah, that's how it first started to be like something that someone would pay for. I think it was back to the Lent 40 days of gratitude. I was doing it for free, and then I decided to do it like you could get a free version or you could do a paid version, and then I eventually changed it into just a paid version. And other products, which I never thought that I would make products.
Exactly what I was going to say next. Now you have so many products in your business.
It's just crazy to think of. I'm sure there's so many people out there with like these ideas that they're thinking, how could I ever have a product? It's just like the know-how. If I would have known, or if I would have known where to even look to know, again, not business minded. Not business minded at all, but you have the know how. So you can help people get from that idea to products and a way to support their family and do something that they're good at. Not just that you love. Like people always say, like, oh, I really wanted to just do something that I love and make money from it. And that's sort of true, but I think more so, the more I think about it, like I think more so as women, it's more like we don't all have all the gifts, but we all have a few that come really naturally. Like working at that law firm did not come naturally to me. Marketing, I can do, well, now I do marketing well, but marketing for a law firm did not come naturally to me. But, you know, like making products that help moms practice gratitude and simplify home and involve their kids, that comes naturally to me, but maybe not to someone else. To someone else, they can actually meal plan and cook, which, you know, I can't do at all. Or they're good at, you know, budgeting or business, which I can't do at all. So we all, as women and moms, we have these things we're good at. And I think we could be better at saying we're good at them without thinking we're bragging, and saying like, I'm good at this, so how can I help you with it? And then that other person says, well, I'm good at this, how can I help you with it? So I
Which
have
is
this.
exactly what we do, right?
Yes,
I
that's what we
remember,
do.
so Erin and I are on a constant Voxer with our other, which Voxer is just a walkie-talkie app that you use on your phone to talk to friends. And we are always on a Voxer with our other close business friend, Maury. And they are both so gifted in things like design and graphics and making things look beautiful and sales copy, like writing these amazing words to sell products. They both have this really, really strong skill set. And for years, I felt like my friends are so good at design. I'm not good at that. Like I don't have a business strength. And it's in the doing that you figure out what your strength is. Like I would have never known that I'm good at business strategy or tactics or email marketing. I never would have known that those things are my strong suit until I did the thing and figured it out. And it works out so well that those are the things I'm good at. And you guys are good at completely different things. Like it's such a benefit to me because then I can bring some designs that I did to my business friends and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And you guys can be writing an email marketing campaign and be like, hey, what emails do you think I should write? And it's such a nice balance.
Yes, yes. I feel like that's what most women when you're thinking like, oh, I would like to have a business doing something that I love, what you're really saying is, I have this gift, and if only I could share it, I think people could benefit from it. And not in a way like, ooh, look at this thing I can do. Just in a way like, this comes naturally to me. If it doesn't come naturally to you, how can I help you with it? Because I'd love to, because I like to sit and do this all day and you don't. And like you are so good at business strategy and so good at working fast. And these are things that I'm not good at all. But thank God you are, because I constantly benefit from your gifts. So I feel like that's kind of what, a lot of people that are in online business are thinking, like, if you have that thought in your head, like, oh, if only I could just do this all day, right? Then what you're probably saying is, this comes naturally to me. I feel good at this, and I think other people need this, but maybe don't want to spend their whole day doing this. How can I put it out in the world for those people to make their lives better? I think it took me a long time to kind of figure that out. I'm still figuring it out.
It's so true, though. It can really be that simple. It doesn't need to be this complicated business plan. It could just be starting to do something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. You just heard my story, and I know you've heard it before, but like, it started as a not business idea, and I took the long way, the way long road to get to the actual running a business. But there's a faster way. There's a faster way. If you know that you have an idea and something that you want to try to share with more people, there's definitely a faster way to do it than I did it.
That's exactly what I'm trying to bring people with Teacher Biz, is the faster way. So hopefully people out there, hopefully they can skip over some of those. Yeah. Hopefully
I'm
they
good at
can
the
skip over.
long, wordy way, and you're good at the like, let's get it done way, which is, thank goodness for you, because I need you.
Well, it took me a long time in the beginning to figure out what that way was, but now that I know, I want to show people, that they can do this. Maybe they can skip over some of those bumps in the road that we had and make it a
Yeah,
little easier for
it
them.
really is a much more clearly lined path when I hear you say it and lay it out. I wish I would have just even known to look for someone like you. I didn't even know. I guess maybe online business is more popular now. Again, I still don't know. But like, I feel like when we started, I'm not sure there were a lot of people to look to.
I love that.